Cage Minds, Mike and Frankel at the San Jose Boxing Gym ahead of BKFC 28 on August 27th. Alongside Isaac Valli-Flagg. This man's back in a ring. After the podcast, they heard the cries, they heard the people, and we have got you back in the squared circle. It's cool that you're doing it here in New Mexico, sir.
I think mostly they just knew I was a local, and so they threw me on a card. But yeah, I'm happy to be fighting again for BKFC, and happy to be doing it at home here. You know,
right? They got to get a ticket seller on there, so I'm sure they wanted. They got you, Dodson, Donald Sanchez. We got to get the mix of the local names, the legends. How's it feel to be in that group?
I mean, it's cool. You know, it's Albuquerque, New Mexico it's my home, so it's cool to be able to fight here, and it's cool to be, listed among those people. You know, that was one of the attractions of the card was that I'm on the card with Donald and Dotson and the other Dotson and a lot of guys who I started doing this with. So it's really cool, man, to be able to jump back in there and with these guys specifically, you know.
And you said it's been some time in between fights. I even asked you off camera, and I'm sure it's okay if I ask you on camera. How's the body been feeling now, revving back up to fight condition?
It's good, man. I mean, obviously, I'm older, you know, but you know, I did things smart with my conditioning coach, Nick Gonzalez. We made sure that we kind of eased into things, and same with my boxing coach. You know, we didn't do as much sparring. We didn't do as much crazy stuff in the beginning. We really kind of had a build up, and then now we're sprinting to the finish, you know.
And what has it been like getting back to the thing that you love? The face punching, the exchanging, the brutality with your companions here.
It's a cool feeling doing that, you know. I don't know if the drive is there as much, but I still love the sport, and I love the camaraderie that this brings, being in a gym and stuff. So that part's awesome, you know. It's just especially being successful with the roofing, you know, with Invigorate, you know, I'm gonna throw that little plug in there. It's hard to muster the want to fucking get hit a lot, you know. I mean, it's tough.
And I'd even asked earlier and do it again. How's it feel now working and training? Because towards the end of your career, training was the full priority.
Right, and you know, it's tough working and training. I do less of the labor and more of the sales aspect. But you know, there's still a mental strain with that, and so having to instead of having my mind 100% committed to the fight, I'm kind of 50-50 or 60-40. Luckily, both my bosses are combat sports guys, Donald being one of them, and they give me the time and space that I need, knowing that I'm a little bit older and not as spry as them. So they kind of give me my space with it, which is cool, you know.
And specifically in your situation, being older, being a veteran of this, is work almost a little bit of a mental escape that you're taking your mind off the fight, where for so many years you were consumed by the fight camp and what was ahead of you? Now you get these little reprieves in between your day, I'm sure, where it skips your mind because you're so busy, measurements, bids, whatnot.
Yeah, you know, so I started getting obsessed with the work like I did with the fighting in the beginning, you know, and it's kind of driven my success in the roofing. So my fighting is kind of, even though this is like a serious deal, like I'm training twice a day, but the fighting is a reprieve from my work and not vice versa, you know. So like I got obsessed with the roofing the way I did with fighting, and now I get to like take a little mental break for the fighting and go with that, you know.
And you've had a little break now from competition. How have you felt that you've seen the sport of bare knuckle itself evolve?
It's obviously growing. You know, they're getting bigger names. They're starting to get different deals and stuff like that. So it's cool to see it grow. It's only been 2 years, you know, and but you know, I mean, obviously with like a kind of an upstart like bare knuckle, a new upstart of an old sport like bare knuckle. You know, it's going to accelerate, and then it's going to, you know, I wouldn't say plateau like the UFC, but it'll plateau at some point. But right now it's kind of really pushing forward and accelerating in growth, you know, which is cool to see.
And also on the technical aspect in the ring, do you feel like you've seen some leaps and bounds? Because I feel it went from really wild to there's a bit more technique we've seen thrown in here in these last couple years.
Yeah, I would say so. You know, I mean, you know, you watch guys who accelerate right off the bat, and it was winning fights at first, but now guys are learning to circle off the line and fight a little bit smarter, which I don't think is any more boring. I think it just adds to an exciting fight already, you know. So I think it's great to see some more technical boxing get into it too.
The opponent August 27th is going to be Brad Kelly. He has a lot of experience under his belt in combat sports, just like yourself. What kind of brawl are we expecting in this one?
Brad comes straight forward, and he's a hard-nosed Army vet who's not afraid to get hit. I mean, so you're going to kind of see, and I mean, I'm obviously not afraid to get hit, so you'll probably see that kind of a close quarters brawl.
Considering everything we've talked about on the podcast, the sobriety, the change in life, the terms in which you were prematurely retiring the last time I got to see you fight here locally up at Buffalo Thunder, what is this moment going to mean to you to get a fight here, if it's just one more, at least one more on your terms as the Isaac you want to be?
It's big. I mean, that's huge, you know. I mean, like, I'm slowly and surely becoming the person that I was meant to be with sobriety and the way of life that I'm living now. So it's good to be doing this with a clear head in front of a hometown, instead of like all messed up and questioning everything that's happening, you know. So
you mentioned names like Dodson, Sanchez, all these guys that you know that you're going to be on the card with. So how much are you able to add in little bits of advice, because of the group, you're the one that's done this Bareknuckle FC deal before. You've had the Bareknuckle fights.
Yeah, I had Bareknuckle fights, but I mean, like, John Dotson's John Dotson. I mean, like, I can tell him what it's like to fight Bareknuckle, but that dude's got 100 different fights. And Donald Sanchez has 60-some fights, you know? I mean, like, those guys are both guys who I look up to. So even though I have a little bit more Bareknuckle experience, I mean, shit, those guys are like true veterans of the sport. So I just sit back and listen and take advice from Donald and take advice from Dotson, you know? I mean, like, I don't see myself as any kind of a vet in this. I'm just lucky to be on the card with those guys.
So what's some of the best advice that you can share with us that one of these two great minds has bestowed you?
Don't get hit.
Dude, Bareknuckle, that's some words for everybody.
Don't get hit. I mean, like, getting hit. The only fight I've been dropped in 30 fights was my last fight with Luis Palomino, and that's, I mean, fighting some of the best guys in the world. So don't get hit. Bare fist is a different story, you know.
And is it a different story, head movement, trying to elude the punches in Bareknuckle compared to MMA?
Yeah, you know, I've been working a lot on my head movement. That doesn't mean that I'm going to use it, but I don't want to get hit. You know what I mean? And so I've been trying to do a lot more head movement. That being said, the minute I get hit, I'm sure the reptilian brain will take over, and I'll just march forward like an idiot.
He looks happy. He's sweaty right now. It's been agonizing, but he looks happy. Thank you for the time, Isaac.
What? Huh?
I was going to say thank you for the time.
Oh, thank you.